You spend 3 months building a product. You finally launch it. You proudly introduce your world-class solution to the market, and nobody cares. When this happens, the immediate reaction is usually to blame the advertising budget or the algorithm, but most founders in this position are trying to solve a messaging problem using mechanical tools. Look at these two businesses. Owner A has a solid product, but zero sales. People look at the offer and bounce. Owner B has steady sales, but their ad costs are bleeding them dry. These two situations require completely different fixes. Owner A needs psychology. They have to figure out who their product is actually for. Owner B needs performance data to optimize their click-through rates. Pouring money into Instagram ads when your audience doesn't understand why they should care about your product is the fastest way to burn your marketing budget. This distinction is exactly where Seth Godin's This Is Marketing steps in. It is one of the most frequently recommended business books out there, but there is a massive disconnect with how it gets pitched. Millions of people buy this book expecting a step-by-step blueprint for building sales funnels, calculating customer acquisition costs, or writing high-converting ad copy. You won't find any of that in these pages. The book contains zero execution tactics. Instead, it operates entirely at the level of principles, focusing on human psychology and how people make decisions. We need to look closely at exactly which business bottleneck this book actually cures, and who is going to read it and find it completely useless for their day-to-day operations. Figuring out whether your business currently needs a change in philosophy or better tactical tools is an essential decision you have to make before spending another dollar. Most businesses want a huge audience. If you ask a founder who their product is for, they often say everyone. But a message designed to appeal to everyone usually ends up resonating with nobody. Godin counters this with the concept of the smallest viable audience. Instead of trying to reach as many people as possible, you find the exact group of people who already care deeply about the problem you solve. When you commit to serving a hyper-specific niche, you can speak directly to their insecurities, driving up conversion rates. Strategically, that places this concept right here, heavy on abstract philosophy, focusing entirely on audience creation rather than extracting existing demand. The trade-off is immediate and uncomfortable. To use this effectively, you have to willingly ignore a massive portion of your total addressable market. Shrinking your potential customer base feels terrifying when you have bills to pay, but cutting out the noise is required if you want your core audience to actually listen. That brings us to how you reach them. Today, the default move is interruption, jamming ads into social media feeds. Godin argues for permission. Permission requires showing up consistently and delivering continuous value up front without demanding a transaction in return. You teach, you entertain, or you solve a micro problem for free. Over time, that consistency builds genuine authority. The customer realizes you understand their situation, and eventually they voluntarily opt in to hear from you. The cost here is time. You have to sacrifice short-term vanity metrics and immediate return on ad spend to allow that slow, compounding trust to develop. Anyone can buy 1,000 impressions on Meta for a few dollars, but permission, the actual desire to receive your message, cannot be bought. It has to be earned. Once you have their attention, you have to know what to say. Listing state-of-the-art equipment, certified trainers, and premium facilities fails because every other business is saying the exact same thing. Customers evaluate your product based on their worldview. They make purchases based on what acquiring the item says about their own identity, their status, or their beliefs. Think about a luxury watch. To someone who values status, it means success and achievement. To someone who doesn't care, it's just a metal machine that tells time. Same product, entirely different meaning. To market on this level, you have to dig into your customers' fears and unstated desires. That psychological research is difficult, and applying it often forces businesses to completely rewrite their branding from scratch. People rarely pull out their wallets for the physical object itself. They pay for the possibility of becoming the version of themselves they want to be. But this is where the philosophy hits a wall for operators. You can memorize every psychological model in this book, completely master your customer's worldview, and you will still walk away with zero technical execution skills. The text explicitly leaves out the mechanics. No tutorials on meta ads, no technical SEO frameworks, no attribution models, and no instructions for funnel optimization. If you invest your time reading this, you commit to finding a secondary, highly tactical source to figure out how to actually launch your campaigns. Empathy and clear positioning are critical, but without a technical delivery mechanism to get that message in front of people, you don't have a functioning business. You just have a very insightful journal entry. Deciding whether this book is worth your time comes down to one objective test: correctly diagnosing your immediate operational bottleneck. Ask yourself, what's stopping your marketing? If you can't set up ads or track metrics, skip this book. You need a technical manual. But if you have the tools, yet don't know what to say to make an audience care, read this book. The objective value of Seth Godin's advice entirely depends on which side of that flowchart your current business problems fall on. If you are a complete beginner looking for an operating manual, a technical media buyer trying to lower your cost per click, or a social media manager looking for a tactical content calendar, pass on this. If you are a founder, creator, or strategist who keeps saying our product is for everyone while watching your ad spend burn with zero return, this is required reading. Ultimately, marketing is not a layer you apply after a product is built. Marketing dictates what you build in the very first place. You can have the best funnel in the world and perfectly optimized ads, but no amount of tactical execution will ever save a product that nobody actually wants.